that you can present and take care of business this morning. So thank you, Melanie. For those of you who don't know who Melanie is, she is, I'm going to screw up your title, so I'm going to let you fix it. But Melanie works with Assistive Technologies in our TRIO department, but has been so good about working with the CTRL and helping us understand how to use these technologies and incorporate them to support all student learning. So Melanie, go ahead and add any more amazingness to your title and to the work that you do. And then I'm going to just turn my mic off and turn it over to you.
No, that sounded great. Yeah, I'm Melanie Nordwall with TRIO Student Support Services. My title is TRIO Assistive Technologist. In the past, it was called Assistive Technology Specialist. So just a little change in the title here. So I have a few slides that I'm going to start us out with, and then mostly just want to show several different AI note-taking apps. We're going to be looking at Otter AI, Messenger Pigeon, and Jamworks. I don't have access to Glean anymore, but I will show you a picture of what that looks like and give you some student quotes from students who have used that through the Disability Services Office. And then I have a discussion question for everybody, because I actually have to make a decision on whether we're going to add the AI chatbot to our Otter subscription. So I would love feedback on how everybody feels about that. So we'll end with that. So to start, I'm going to get my screen sharing here. Go to the, nope, I have a lot of tabs open. Okay, so are the slides up on the screen for everybody? Okay, great.
Yes.
All right, so I just wanted to start out by saying when I give access to these note-taking apps to students, I talk to them about the Pennsylvania recording law, where they must speak with their course instructor before recording. And then the course instructor needs to announce to the whole class that the lectures will be recorded. And both the TRIO SSS office and the Disability Services Office have a specific recording agreement that students sign before we give them access to these note-taking tools. And Jackie Smith and I had both proposed a university recording agreement to the University Faculty Association. This was maybe 3 years ago, and I haven't heard back whether that is an official policy now. So I'm going to ask in a second, but some of the language in there, I'm going to give you access to a folder that has our recording agreement and some other resources in it. So, whoops. Oh, it's on like it's playing on itself. Okay, playing myself. But the recording agreement has some language that protects intellectual property, holds students to the code of conduct, and talks about that Pennsylvania recording law. Does anybody, stop sharing for a second. Does anybody know where that is in the university or the faculty committee, where that stands? No? Okay. Okay. I just was wondering, so it sounds like it's probably not a university policy right now. That is just our individual offices that have a recording agreement.
But it should be. This is such good information, Melanie. I was just writing in the chat. I record my lectures for my students all the time, and I let them know ahead of time that I'm recording the class for anybody who misses or whatever, but never thought, I asked them for permission, but never thought about a recording agreement. This is really important. Thank you for sharing.
Sure. All right. I'm going to go share again. Okay. I don't know why my slides, let me escape my slides for a second. Oh, okay, here we go. So some of the features that all of these apps have in common is that they both have a mobile app for your smartphone and a website app. And most students use their phone to just bring up the app and press record. And then later they go back to the website app where they can engage with the transcript, have the audio played back, take their own notes, interact with some of the AI tools that are built into some. So they're usually using two devices to use these tools. All the tools have an audio playback feature. You can also import media files. So you can import an audio recording, a video recording. It will transcribe that. You can insert a PDF file of the slides from the lecture. And for all of the students, I tell them to take handwritten notes and make sure that they're writing down those keywords, names, dates. And so they can go back into the transcript. And if there's not a search field, you can do Control F for find and type in those keywords and find that information quickly in the transcript. And then these tools also have highlighters, comment tools, so that students can read through the transcript and pull out that key information and maybe in the comments add their own questions or reword the information in their own words to have that stick into their mind better. So the AI features that we're really diving into today. So AI, is based on a language model. So these are all the features that the language model helps with. The first is live captioning, which can be turned on or off. But I do know one of our students, it's crucial for that student to actually have their look at their phone during the lecture to get the live captioning so that they can't necessarily hear everything the professor says, but having the live captioning helps to catch all the information during the lecture. And then after the recording ends, the software will transcribe the audio into text. They can all transcribe it into multiple languages. Each of these have a different number of languages that they can be translated into. They have speaker detection. So if you have more than one speaker, it will differentiate that there's speaker one, speaker two. Some of these tools have an AI summary built in and an AI chatbot and study tools. And so we'll take a look at some of these things. Before I start demonstrating, I just want to talk about how, using these apps helps students engage with material and they can have deeper learning with these multiple modalities. So like I said, I encourage students to handwrite their notes or they can type their notes. And so that's kinesthetic learning. They can re-listen to the audio recording. So if students have strength in auditory learning, they have that. The visual learners can view the transcript, read the text. In Otter, the words are highlighted as that audio playback is playing. And so you've got both the auditory and the visual. And then there's annotation tools for visual and kinesthetic where they're engaging with material, highlighting, taking their own notes. All right. So I'm going to start out with, I just recorded like a 4-minute talk in each of these programs. So you can just see the difference with the same material. So this is Otter. And it does have an AI summary. It also gives you the transcript. Otter is pretty simple. I have a comparison chart in this folder that I'm going to share with you. And so you'll be able to see some of these similarities and differences when you look at the chart that I created. One thing that I like about Otter that is unique to this program versus the other ones is that you can put in custom vocabulary. So for this talk, the speaker is Indian, and for his accent, or maybe, even thinking about, these are botanical terms. So if you have a course with specialized vocabulary, you can add those terms here, and then the transcript will get it correctly. So you'll be able to see that difference as we're looking at the different transcripts. So this one, since I added the vocabulary, got the names of the plants correct. And this one has, you can see, if you just highlight a sentence, then this toolbar pops up. So you can highlight, you can comment, you can add a link. So copy it, you can copy and paste your own notes. So there's different annotation tools built in. So this one is pretty simple. I'm going to go to the folder now. Here's the folder of the features I'm going to show you, or all the resources I'm going to give you. This one is going to show you that there is an AI, there are some more tools available, this AI generated outline, also a chat, so that you can ask questions, create a study guide, give me a 5-question quiz. Right now, and this is what we'll talk about later, is that is not turned on right now. So all the education subscriptions through Otter do not have that AI feature turned on by default, but I can request it. So we're going to look at some other note-taking apps that have that AI feature, and then we're going to come back and I want your feedback on whether I should turn on that AI feature. So this is Jamworks. I went to a conference on accessibility and assistive technology in higher education back in November, and other colleges are raving about Jamworks. Otter AI, it was created for businesses, whereas Jamworks, Messenger Pigeon, Glean were all created for education. And Otter the subscription is very high. It's quite a chunk out of our Trio budget. So I'm looking at an alternatives. So I do have some students trialing Jamworks right now. And then we're going to do a trial of Messenger Pigeon in the fall. And then Glean was paid for through the Disability Services Office last year through half of this year. And then that subscription ended. They're looking for funding to bring that back. But I don't have access to that right now. So we're going to look at Jamworks. You could add a video to this, but I'm just telling students, just do the audio. The highlight, this will take like headings, or if you insert the slides, it'll take the titles from each of the slides. So you can kind of almost like chapters, you can jump through the audio. This will give you an AI summary of key points. And you can interact with this text, add highlights. So it has some of those tools. Here's the full transcript. And then there's an AI summary. You can insert the slides. And then there's a place where you can also take your own notes. So it'll put the headings in, and then you can take your own notes. So it has some nice features. Over here is the AI assistant. And so it has these prompts already built in that you can just click. So this start quiz up here is actually flashcards. So it has digital flashcards built in. Or you can ask it to do a quiz, definitions, things like that. So I move my little, okay. So I think it had asked me if I wanted some questions. So I said yes, and then it gave questions. And then you can answer, is saying, please answer those. And then here's some definitions. So I was clicking on the different bubbles and it gave definitions. So here's where the transcript got the word wrong in the transcript, but however, it's interesting over here, it actually figured out what this is supposed to be and put the correct term here. So found that kind of interesting. So we can just, I can just click on these again. And so it's asking you, like after you ask a question, it gives you a yes or no. So those are some features. I'm not going to spend too much time there. We'll go on to the next one. This is Messenger Pigeon. Oh, wait, this is, sorry. Let me move this. I have all these little windows popped up. Okay, I'm going to move this to the end. Here's Messenger Pigeon. Okay. This one looks a little different. It has the transcript here. You can change the layout if you want it to be transcript only or transcript to notes. If you want the AI tool, you can add that in. So here's the transcript. There's a place where you can take your own notes. Then there's the Study Assistant AI tool. So right now it's giving me 2 prompts: study material analysis, quiz, and test preparation. So if I click that, see, okay, here's the 5 questions to study. Then I think, yeah, and then it'll show, you can click on show answers as well. It'll give you the answers. And then if we do study material, again, it'll ask a few more questions. So I'm going to say, make a list of keywords and topics. Let's see. Additional, let's see, what's this one? Oh, you can ask for further resources or articles. So it gives you some prompts. There is, I believe, this is the basic version. If you have the pro version, I believe you also get like the chat bot where you can ask your own questions to engage in the course material, in the course lecture. Okay, the last, I'm going to show you one more thing, and then I'm going to show you a picture of what Glean looks like, and then we'll continue. This is Notebook LM. It's a free Google application. And so even with, Otter right now does not have the AI built into it. There are a lot of students using Notebook LM to add course material that they download out of Brightspace, or you could take the transcript and upload it here. You can paste copy text, link to YouTube, a website, put a document in here, and then you can ask questions. So, and it gives you prompts. So here's the chat feature, and it's already asking a question down here, say like, oh, this is something you might want to ask. And then over on this side, you have the study guide. So it'll make separate documents. So I click study guide, briefing doc, and frequently asked questions. So this bottom one was the study guide where it gets key concepts. There's a quiz. There's an answer key to the quiz, ideas for essay questions, glossary of key terms. So it'll give you all of that when you clicked create a study guide. This one was the briefing note, I believe. Wait, let me see. But those were frequently asked questions, and this was the briefing guide. Similar to the study guide. So this is available for free. Anybody can use that and put information in and use the AI chatbot for that. Okay, one last one. I'm going to show you what Glean looks like. So here's a picture of a recording on Glean, it doesn't transcribe in most of the time, it does not give you that live transcription. You can turn it on, but just not so that students don't just get distracted. It just shows the sound waves. And then there's these buttons at the bottom that you can tap for headings, something that's important to remember, a place where you didn't quite understand the topic and you want to review, or if you need to create an action item. This was really helpful. We do have a student at Carlow that does not have use of her hands, and she uses a mouth stick with a touch screen computer. And so this was very helpful for her because she cannot type quickly with the on-screen keyboard and mouth stick, but she can record this audio and click, like if there's things that she wanted to go back and review or that are important, she could just tap these buttons and it will mark those places in the transcript, and then she can go back and review. So for that student, this was really key for her success. And Jamworks has a flag feature similar to this. Messenger Pigeon has a bookmark feature that's similar to this. So there are, the other tools do have a similar feature, not quite the same, but very similar. All right, gonna come back to you guys. Let me find you. Here we are. Oops, I lost Zoom. Okay. Stop sharing. Let's see if I can get you back. Here we are. Okay. Hi. All right. So I just would love to get your feedback. What is everybody thinking? And would love some feedback on, should I add that AI chatbot and like AI study tools to Otter for our students? What do we think?
Well, Melanie, thank you for the presentation. I currently do not use any of those features in any of the courses I have taught, but is there a way you can do I was thinking a practice module you can set up that we could ourselves before we, put that into a course, sort of see what features might go best with the assignments?
Do you want access to, I could give you access to Otter AI and Jamworks. I could give you a login and you could try it. Is that what you would?
Yes, something
like?
to practice with.
Okay, sure. All right. Yeah, I'll put up my contact information. I'm going to write down your name, but I'll put up my contact information. And I'll put the PowerPoint into that resource folder. So anybody can contact me and I can give you access to give it a try.
April was asking a question about if all of these tools are free to Carlow students or just to TRIO students.
Oh, yes. I meant to talk about that. So TRIO scholars, we have 140 licenses for Otter and 140 students is with a grant, the number of students the grant can serve. So all of the TRIO scholars have access to Otter. They have to talk to me before I give them access, but they have it for free through our program. Glean was through Disability Services. They are looking at either renewing that or using one or getting a subscription from one of these other programs. Right now, I have a Jamworks free trial going on. And we have like 250 licenses for that. So if anybody wants to try that out, I'm wanting feedback. So I would love for people to try that. And then Messenger Pigeon, we are going to do a free trial in the fall. And then as far as free versions, there are free versions of these. Otter, Jackie Smith would tell students that you could use the free version of Otter, and at the time you got 600 minutes free, so they could do like 600 minutes per month free, so you could do like 10 60-minute lectures. Now they have cut that to 30 minutes at a time. So students cannot record an entire lecture with the free version. So that one's limited. Messenger Pigeon said they have a free version, but it's limited. It sounded like it had limited minutes, but it didn't specify how many. And then Jamworks, you just get the full pro version of Jamworks for a 14-day trial. So right now we have the free trial, but if outside of that free trial, which ends at the end of the semester, you could just sign up for a 14-day trial.
So the student decides what works best for them based on the availability, right, or cost. And yeah, that's why even before we recommend something, that's why I wanted to make sure that we fully understood that product, right, and how can it best benefit the student?
Yes.
Money.
Yeah.
If these are tools that people are interested in, and the faculty advocated for them, I'm sure that CTRL could request that, probably not for this year's budget, but this might be something that we want to consider as we're making budgets, if we think that there might be some use for that. Because these aren't cheap tools for sure.
Right. Yeah.
How much, Melanie, how much is ballpark for the students that you serve? How much is that on your grant?
It's a lot. It's like $20,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's why I'm looking at these other, like Jamworks, I think was going to be about 13,000. So
Mhm.
a lot less, but still a significant cost. Yeah.
There are, but you were talking about there's also some free versions, some free tools that have some but limited capabilities, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are you finding with those?
Well, even Microsoft, I didn't go into the Microsoft tools, but OneNote does have an audio recording tool built in. And there's also, when you go to the microphone button on Word or OneNote, the dictation button, there's a drop down, and let me see if I can pull it up real quick. There's a drop down, and one of them will transcribe for like 2 people if you have 2 speakers. Let me see. I'll have to look, I'll look that up again. I can make a note. I can email like exactly what the wording is on that. So it will transcribe as well. So there are some free options built into Microsoft, which all the students have access to. And then the Notebook LM is good for, it's the difference in just going to ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Copilot, and using these specific apps is that it's going to only pull from the material that you give it. So those study guides and quizzes are only going to pull from that lecture material, or in Notebook LM, which is a free Google tool, it will only pull from the documents and media that you put into it. Whereas the OpenAI tools will just pull, from their whole language model. And sometimes what they pull in is not, it will make something up if it doesn't know the answer. And so, and even I asked a question recently about TRIO funding. I was like, oh, has Congress passed fiscal year 25 TRIO funding? And AI came up saying yes, and it used my statement, yes, blah, 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 and it gave a number, and then I clicked on the source, the link, and it was from 2024. So it was not correct. The answer was no, but it said yes. So I just caution students on, that they really need to check those sources and make sure that and wherever it's pulling information from is right. But I feel a little more safe with these tools that are only pulling from the information that you're giving it.
that's similar to what we have with the AI features in Brightspace, that it's only really pulling from the things that so it's good information, or at least it's as good as the information we've given it.
Right. Yeah.
But that also brings up that Brightspace. When I record some things, I often use that tool back and forth with the students rather than writing evaluations for them. I'll just record myself doing the evaluation so that they have a voice and a transcript along with it. Not as cool as the stuff you were showing, Melanie, but it's at least something that allows for accessibility.
So there's a question, the approximate individual pricing. I think that I was looking at the business pricing. I think I can look it up, but like the business pricing for Otter was like $20 per person per month. Like the one lower than that was like $8.33 per person per month. So that kind of gives you an idea of what individual pricing might look like. But all of these have their pricing pages that you can go to and look. That's just off the top of my head. Okay, and you're paying $20 a month for Otter. Yeah. Okay. So how do people feel about adding, what would you recommend to me for adding the AI chatbot and study guide feature to Otter for our students?
Would you you're using grant money for this, Melanie?
I don't have to pay anymore. I just have to tell them to add it.
Oh.
It's just automatically defaulted off for the .edu subscriptions, but I can ask them to turn it on. I don't have to pay anything additional.
I mean, part of me is like, of course. And then part of me is like, well, what do we do with it? I don't know. I think it would be great, but how does this support teaching and learning for a faculty member who may not know what to do with it? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, if you turn this on and a student goes to a faculty member and says, I don't know.
Well, let me, I should go back to my slides. I have enough. I'm going to show you a couple more slides and then I'm going to ask the question again, I think. All right. Oops. Get to it. Okay. So here are some of the tips that I give students, and really how I'm seeing these AI features is another opportunity for students to interact and engage with the material. So, my tip number one is to take those handwritten notes, because I do believe that there's a connection between writing your own notes and that's sticking in your brain. So take, as I said, write down at least write down the keywords, dates, names. And if you're using the note-taking tool, you can search for those keywords and just get some clarity, see if you missed some information. So then when you read, so tip two is, and I know our academic coaches stress this, is to revisit your notes. I know Dave Gordon talks to his students about kind of adding on each day, revisiting your notes and adding on to your knowledge. So make sure that they're kind of filling in those definitions, checking for clarity, seeing if they missed something or didn't fully understand something in class. And then tip three is to use some of those tools to engage and interact with information, either, manually highlight that key information or run those AI study tools and take those quizzes. So I think, having the ability to have a quick quiz and review the information that way and see how much they've retained is a good strategy for learning. So those are my thoughts, that these tools do help in kind of engagement and interaction with the material and help students, retain that information. And then here's some quotes from our students. And this doesn't have to do with the AI piece, but just on the note-taking apps in general. So these are disability services students at Carlow that talked about using Glean. Being able to quickly reference the material we covered in class, both in transcript and recording, was essential for my studying and success. Another one says, as a neurodiverse person who struggles with a speech processing disorder and dreaded lecture material, having a study tool like Glean gave me absolute peace of mind. I didn't need to worry about missing anything or falling behind because I could easily access the material I needed. And then these are student quotes that I got within the last month on students that have been using Otter. Only one of them, I tried to get students to also try Jamworks. But I know some of them did, but they didn't fill out the survey, but only, except one. Students really didn't want to try to switch in the middle of the semester. They just wanted to stick with Otter. But this is what they are saying, that it's great to be able to listen to a recording after class, along with being able to look at the transcript during the lecture to get information that they couldn't hear. Another favorite feature is the live transcription. Somebody saying their professor talks too fast, so then, they're able to get that information if they missed it in class. So the last one has to do with Jamworks. This person said they like the AI inclusion to assist with work and not do it for you. Oh, okay. I'm gonna stop sharing. All right.
Caroline, go ahead.
Anybody want to? Oh, yes.
Yes. I was actually just wondering, first of all, and some of this you just gave me is the information on how many people are actually using it at all. And what would be the second thing is, what would they have if you turned it on that they are missing now?
Oh, for the AI, what would they have that they're missing now?
Right.
The AI piece would just give the quick study guide or quiz features, which they can do on their own. They can create their own digital flashcards or create their own study guides, which, is beneficial as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, because one of the ones you showed had the feature that it would create that study guide sort of for you also. So I'm just curious as to, because I mean, from the technical point of view, the more they have available, it's better because they can choose one but also the more technical assistance they might need. Something isn't working quite right. And then, so you have far more moving parts that need to be administrated. Whereas if you keep it to a couple of ones that they're using anyway and that have all the features, then that can be easier on the administration of them. So I'm seeing different aspects of things, but as far as of course allowing the students whatever tools that we have available, why not? But the why not could be, if they're having trouble with something, then that takes time off from the person who's supporting them, so the different aspects of that.
Yeah. And giving choice is good. You mentioned the different tools, having choices is always good. And you mentioned,
can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So if you turn on the AI, will it pull, so you just gave the example where it pulled information that wasn't correct. Can the student differentiate between what they pulled from the lecture that the faculty member gave them versus what the AI pulled? Can they actually tell what the difference is? Because my concern is if you turn it on and they think that what they're getting is based on the lecture, are they going to be able to tell or even look at it closely enough to tell things that aren't correct? And I'll give you an example in my world. I have students all the time who use precision levels for which our resources don't have, and they don't understand it. And when they use AI, they try to use it and they use it incorrectly. So would they be able to tell which one came from AI versus which one came from the faculty notes?
So if you're using each of the apps, whether it's Otter, Jamworks, Messenger Pigeon, or Glean, they're only pulling from, and Notebook LM, put all those together. It's only pulling from that transcript or the information that's put in. So if you go to ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, that's when it's pulling from everything. So turning on the AI in Otter, it's only pulling from that particular lecture.
Yeah, and then I would think I don't see a reason not to. I guess I wouldn't see a reason why it wouldn't be beneficial for a student to do it.
Okay. That's what I think too. I just want some like reassurance from faculty that
the only devil's advocate aspect I can take on this is that if a faculty member says absolutely no AI use in the class, because the AI tool is still synthesizing that information and creating a summary of it. And so it's taking a little bit of the critical thinking out of the process. But my argument back to that is, yeah, and I still think it's going to help the students. So yeah, I'm trying to play both sides of this. I'm leaning more in favor of saying, I get it, but it's the same thing that you would have if you had a calculator helping you do the math. You still need to know the math in order to understand the results. So I don't know. Maybe Beth can add something better than that for the math analogy.
And it would be interesting to also see those students who do use it, versus the students who maybe don't, because if they read before they came to class, that would help too sometimes. And then, your notes, your PowerPoint, right? And they can then re-listen to what's the trouble, I think. Well, when I was teaching pharmacology, which I just do in the fall, they like what's important. Like there's so many drugs, there's so much, they want that focus of where they should, instead of maybe learning all the different drugs, learning the class and then the drugs under it. So even engaging in that aspect, but I would be interested in the students who are using it, how they, what their grades like, or, how they understand and can really, I think, critically think that content through from those who are not using it.
Yeah, and so, usage is not actually that high. And I ask the students about it, and really they are saying that each semester, because they really don't want to go through and re-listen to a whole lecture or reread a whole lecture. So they don't want to be doing that. So the students who are using it really only use it for specific classes. So if there's a class where maybe the professor talks really fast and they're not catching everything, they might use it in that class. Or if there's a class where they just are overwhelmed with content and can't seem to, get it all straight, they might use it in that class. So I found that a student might use it one semester, but then they drop it the next semester because they're not in that course anymore. So students are very selective about when they want to use it. And then I've had some, like when I worked in K-12, one of the students that I worked with, he really just had anxiety about missing what the homework assignment is and the instructions for the homework assignment. So he would only record when the teacher was, giving the homework assignment, and then he would turn it off because he really didn't want to re-listen to the rest of the lecture. So I feel like students are very selective about when they use these tools. That makes sense. I mean, that's my feedback when I talk to the students, or that's what their feedback is to me. Any other questions?
is so great. Even if just for the time being, knowing that our students have access to some of these tools is so helpful, because I think that, you know, I wish I would have had my little ADHD brain. I would have loved to have had something like this to help with remembering and retaining information. Thank you so much, Melanie. And thank you everybody for making time in your day this week. I know it's a short week and we're at the end of the semester, so I really appreciate all the time that you came to this session. Allison, if you're still on, is there anything following up that we need to think about to share with anybody? Updates?
Not that I can, well, I sent out a notice, what was that, yesterday, about some upcoming opportunities that are outside of
Yeah.
Carlow. So feel free to take a look at that in Isadora. And we're still figuring out the final details, but stay tuned for more information on the Summer Institute, which we're planning for July. Fingers crossed.
Thanks for the reminder on that. And also Professional Development Day on the 15th of May. So I think that covers everything. So this was it for this year. Well, thank you so much for bringing it home with us, Melanie. Thank you for everybody for being here, and have a great rest of the semester. And if we don't see you beforehand, we'll see you on the 15th.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks,
everyone.
Melanie.